Story meanwhile, satellite news trucks idled, their antennae thrust skyward as on-air personalities braved the frigid elements to capture the palpable tension enveloping the city. Industry pundits parsed through endless footage, interviews, and think pieces, each contributing to the cacophony of discourse that had gripped the nation. Legal experts took to the airwaves, dissecting the repercussions of the House and Senate inquiries, while political scientists drew lines connecting policy decisions to long-reaching societal impacts. Conversations flowed through every medium: televisions, smartphones, radios, each fueling the growing dialogue defining the present and shaping the future. But more than debates or disputes, Inauguration Day was a crucible for America, a defining rubric by which the very essence of democratic governance would be measured. As dignitaries and common citizens alike navigated the heightened security en route to the ceremonial grounds, they carried within them hopes and fears, etched by turbulent years past. Thus, beneath the grandeur and ceremony of a new dawn, amid speculation and steadfast beliefs, the nation stood at a crossroads, awaiting resolutely for the moment of reckoning, a moment that would reverberate through the annals of history, carving its lessons into the hearts of posterity. Chapter 2: Echoes Among the Columns. Against the backdrop of Washington, D.C.'s political epicenter, the Capitol building towered with timeless dignity, its columns freckled by sun and shadow alike. As the brisk winds carried whispers between the white stone pillars, mingling memories of ages past with contemporary determinism, an undercurrent of history surged forward, like echoes of ancient tides seeking harbor. Inside its hallowed halls, voices mingled with the steady footfalls of anticipation, amplifying the charged air that filled the central rotunda with expectation. Lawmakers from across the political spectrum gathered, each arriving at this pivotal juncture, armed with their convictions, their varied perspectives, shaped by the turbulent turning of recent years. In a private chamber at the heart of the Capitol, Speaker of the House, Rebecca Larson, stood gazing out at the sprawling landscape of the city that lay beneath the grandeur of the Capitol's overhanging dome. Her keen eyes traced the route of Pennsylvania Avenue, a path walked by countless leaders before her, feeling the weight of history resting upon her shoulders. "Madam Speaker, it's time," her aide prompted softly from the doorway, breaking the trance-like stillness. With a resolute nod, Larson turned, clutching the ivory-colored folder that contained the speech she'd labored over, its words honed and sharpened on the whetstone of deliberation. The gravity of what she was about to present was not lost on her, nor shouldered alone. Story. The echo of her heels resonated along the corridors as she made her way toward the chamber, drawing strength from the spirits of those who had trod this path before her, threading through the weave of democracy with each careful step. Entering the expansive rotunda, she noted the attentions of fellow lawmakers shifting towards her with a mixture of respect and curiosity, allies and adversaries alike pausing their whispered dialogues. Seated in neat rows with faces sober and reserved, the Senate and House members braced themselves for the unfolding drama of Inauguration Day, a story in which they were both actors and audience. Between them lay the specter of the Trump question, an inquiry that demanded wisdom and clarity, just as it required a reconciliation of contemporary realities with foundational ideals. At the appointed hour, Larson stepped onto the dais, the impassive eye of the camera capturing her rise with a mechanistic whir. She glanced about the chamber, capturing the mosaic of expressions in an instant, some hopeful, others wary, but all undeniably attentive. "Distinguished members of Congress, esteemed guests," she began, her voice calm yet charged with unspoken power. "Today we convene not only to honor a tradition that has long stood as a testament to our enduring democracy, but also to engage with the challenging questions that define our current moment." Larson paused, her words hanging in the air like an inevitable verdict, a harbinger of reflective contemplation. The journey of governance is marked by opportunities to redefine who we are and what we stand for. It requires us to not only look at the individual who may lead us, but also at ourselves as a nation ready to confront its challenges. The chamber sat in rapt silence, the only movement the gentle flicker of eyes behind spectacles, as lawmakers and dignitaries assessed the deeper currents in her rhetoric. Donald Trump's potential re-entry into office presents us with a crossroads, continued Larson. His presidency catalyzed significant policy shifts and incited passionate discourse both here and abroad. As custodians of our democratic legacy, we must examine this path with judicious scrutiny, balanced by empathy and inclusivity. As Larson's voice reverberated through the chamber, it echoed an acknowledgement of the profound uncertainty and the seismic power of the choice confronting the nation. Her address was not a mere recount of facts, but a call to weave understanding from discord. Outside, the grounds of the Capitol thrummed with life. There, the populace was part of the same unfolding narrative, living expressions of democracy in action, their layered voices rising and falling with hope, agitation, and anticipation. Janice Rivers, a suburban mother from Ohio, threaded her way gingerly through the gathered crowd, clutching the hands of her young daughters. The sea of people around her surged with collective energy, signs of unity and freedom hoisted high against the sky. For Janice, this day was about securing a future for her children in a world rife with complexity and challenges. Her ambivalence toward Trump stemmed from a desire for both stability and progress, a better inheritance for the next generation. Story nearby, Jonathan Lee, a small business owner from Michigan, firmly believed Trump's previous policies allowed his business to flourish. Buoyed by what he saw as a tenacity that the nation needed, he joined the throng of supporters, advocating for a return of what he deemed pragmatic leadership. Those around him shared his conviction, a chorus that rose into the chill air like an anthem. The nation's pulse was felt across every group congregating within and beyond the Oval grounds, each with their own stake in the outcomes of decisions made on this momentous day. As the Capitol clock inched toward the ceremonial hour, the thick blanket of speculation swirled through the halls of power. It cast long shadows that mingled with the tangible tension spread across the open fields of onlookers, manifesting the collective heartbeat of a nation in throes of transformation. Chapter 3. The People's Verdict. In the shadow of the Washington Monument, under the azure sky that stretched endlessly above, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. Thousands of voices, each carrying its own question and hope, filled the National Mall, a patchwork of ideologies, concerns and dreams unspooled upon the canvas of democracy itself. On stage, a succession of speakers took turns at the podium, each offering reflections and insights as a prelude to the main event. Their presence was framed against the immense backdrop, the Capitol dome shimmering in the early afternoon light, a symbol of resilience and authority that loomed large over the day's proceedings. As the ceremony unfolded, the nation's complex narrative wove itself anew, a tapestry of discord, thread through ages, accentuated by alliances and promises of renewal. Moments of silence punctuated the addresses, the soft fluttering of flags at half-mast, a poignant reminder of lives lost to the pandemic now entering its waning months, but still an omnipresent shadow. Among those awaiting the moment were dignitaries from across the globe, their solemn faces intent and observant. They were shrewd assessors of this American democratic right, fully comprehending the weight of the decision before a country so often leading in matters of international importance. The tide of expectation crested as the familiar figure took the podium. Donald Trump, distinct against the Washington backdrop, began to speak, his voice resonating across the expanse. The words carried with them the inimitable tenor familiar to countless listeners, some spellbound, others skeptical. In his speech, crafted with the precision honed over decades in the public eye, Trump recounted the achievements of his prior tenure, acknowledging both high marks and missteps, parsed with rhetoric aimed at reconciliation as much as resolve. He addressed policy shifts with aplomb and sought to assure allies of cooperation while maintaining firm stances on issues deemed of paramount importance to his supporters. Story. But the core of his speech zeroed in on one rhetorical linchpin, the impression of unity without uniformity, echoed against the current cascading through America's heart. He spoke of lessons learned, a connectedness he professed to seek amid varying perspectives and experiences surrounding him from all corners of the nation. The audience afloat with expectation. Supporters galvanized, detractors guarded, absorbed every articulation as he concluded with a call for collective introspection, urging a synthesis of ideals geared toward progress through understanding. Beyond the dais, the reflection on Trump's approach writhed and settled in fits and starts, subservient only to personal and collective reckonings. Interludes of applause dragged into scattered murmurs as the speech closed, suffusing the crowd with introspective silence, a moment of densely layered reflection. The presidential oath was taken amidst this atmosphere of introspection, Trump swearing allegiance to principles old yet malleable, as each administration pledges to groom for posterity. As he finished his address, the echoes faded into the vast watching ether, leaving in their wake the unfolding symphony of a nation ready to chart forward. Among those interspersed through the crowd, Janice Rivers clutched the hands of her daughters just a little tighter, as if newly aware of the ramifications of the world woven beyond their embrace, ready to embrace or challenge their unfolding pages. For Jonathan Lee, the reaffirmation of certain policies lent credence to the gravel road he'd traversed, and he found both solace and momentum with each passage clear. But this wasn't just about one person or one speech. It was about America. The question of Trump's fitness had unfolded not as a singular judgment, but as a bid for collective exploration. It asked how the nation, defined by its diversity and its hubris, could walk together despite deeply rooted divides. As the crowds began to disperse, hope intermingled with a suspended disbelief, a kaleidoscope of futures spinning ahead of pedagogy's light recently cast upon this inauguration day. It was not simply Trump's capabilities being weighed, but rather the deeper interrogation of the nation's heart, how it would come to terms with its own past and navigate its intricate future. The sun dipped lower, gilding the landscape with a fading light, a poignant reminder that dawn and dusk go hand in hand, an eternal cycle of renewal and recognition where democracy finds its ever-adapting dance on the cusp of history and hope. Steps echoed with purpose as footsteps filed away, each participant bearing with them newly etched ideals resembling compass, markers gleaned from reflection, a testament to the deliberative cadence of democracy surviving its own crucible. This inauguration day had not granted a definitive answer, but rather left open the unwritten chapters yet to be penned by the enduring spirit of American enterprise and conscience. This tableau of transition spelled it simply. The reckoning was not the end, but indeed a renewed beginning.